Thanks, Kevin. Well, good morning, everyone. Lovely to see your lovely faces and hear from you. Well, let's pray as we come to God's Word. Father, we want to meet Christ. We pray that you would enable us to see the glory of God. Lord, I don't know what people are coming with, what the burdens they're coming with. We pray, Lord, that you would minister to our hearts and our secret thoughts. Both encourage us and challenge us and build us up, Lord, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I wonder if you've ever heard this saying, actions speak louder than words. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, isn't it? If you think about it, imagine you have a friend who is always talking and telling you how special you are to them, how special your family is to them. But when the time comes when you are in some need, the friend who says loudly, "I love you, I care for you," with his lips has muted hands. Doesn't do anything to help. Or maybe your husband tells you how much he loves you over and over again, but when the dishes need doing, mopping needs to happen, bins need to be emptied, you're drowning in housework, he's there sitting in front of the telly. I'm guilty as charged. Well, his words prove nothing. He needs to show his love by actions. By actions. Well, words are very cheap, aren't they? Anyone can say anything, but actions speak louder than words. Our scripture passage tells us that this saying is very much true when it comes to our faith and deeds. James is writing to people who are very much like us, whose mouths speak very freely, but their hands are very much in their pockets. That's why he begins this section by verse 14. Can you see it? He says, "My brothers and sisters, what good is it?" What good is it? If someone claims to have faith but has no deeds, can such faith save them? And the answer is, of course not. It's no good. It's useless, in fact. Faith without action is deception. It is highway to hell. Can such faith save them? No. And as we explore this further, let's look at what James says. And he has at least three things that he wants to tell us. Dead faith, demonic faith, and dynamic faith. So that's where we're going. Dead faith, demonic faith, and dynamic faith. Let's look at dead faith first. We read in verse 14, don't we? "What good is it, my brothers and sisters? Someone claims to have faith, but has no deeds. Can such faith save them?" And then he says, suppose that a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food, and if one of you says to him, "Go in peace, keep warm, well fed," and does nothing about his physical needs, what good is it? And it says, in the same way, faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by action, is what? Is dead. And the point is absolutely clear. It's razor sharp. There's no mucking about. James says your faith, if it's only confined to your head, if it produces no actions, then your faith is no better than a dead corpse, a lifeless corpse. What he means is that, we can sing hymns all we like. We can nod enthusiastically to, Apostles' Creed, to Nicene Creed, and maybe confess Jesus with our lips saying, "Lord, Lord," and come take communion, pray daily, but if your actions do not back it up, it's dead. That's what it says. Because, you see, living faith all always produces the good works. Someone says, I'm a Christian. James says, produce the evidence. He says, don't just tell me, show me that you are a Christian. Because real faith, living faith, always changes your behavior. It always makes you a different person. It makes you a loving person, a caring person, a kind person, a Christ-like person. So James will flesh this out for us, and he gives us an example of a dead faith. This is how a dead faith looks like. He says, suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food, and one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm, well fed, but does nothing about their physical needs. What good is it? Now James says, imagine with me that you've got a Christian or a brother or a sister who comes in raggedy clothes, it's cold, and they wander in, they smell bad, and they look as if they haven't had a good meal for some time. They look stressed, probably sleepless. But then I go up to him and utter some pious words. Oh, I wish you well. All the best. You are in my prayers. I will be thinking about you. And all the sort of things that we often say, don't we? The things that we throw away at people. But I do nothing about his physical needs. James says this thing calls into question the genuineness of my faith. James says to me, if I do that, he says to me, you are a fake if you do that. Because, you see, I might be saying the right thing, making the right kind of noises, but do nothing. Well, what good is it? James asks. We're not just to talk the talk, but also walk the walk. That kind of faith, says James, is dead faith. It's rotten faith. You know how sometimes something dies in the vents and it smells very bad in the house, right? And James says, well, if your faith is like that, it's just like that. Rotten, smelly, disgusting. No good. And James says, so you are a Christian. Don't tell me. Don't just tell me. Show me. Because if your faith is just talk and no action, well, it isn't genuine and it is going to land you in hell, he says. On the scale of 1 to 10, I think James is 15 when it comes to difficult teaching. And I wonder if James was writing to you personally. How would he describe your spiritual life? What would he say about your faith? Would he say that you have a living faith? Or would he tell you that, well, you are a fake? You're pretending to be a Christian, but actually, your action says something else. Only talk, no action. Well, before I move to the second point, let me say a word about salvation, how we are saved. Many people think that this passage contradicts what St. Paul says. They point out, James is saying we're not saved by faith alone, but by works as well. But Paul, on the other hand, says we are saved by faith alone, not by good works. So what's going on? Well, I think this is a misunderstanding. This can be confusing, but there is no contradiction here because both James and Paul are answering two different questions. Paul is answering the question, how can we be saved? By works of the law, by following the law, or by faith alone? And he says, faith alone. James, on the other hand, is talking about the quality of faith. He's drilling down on faith. What kind of faith have you got? What kind of faith saves us? Is it a living faith or a dead faith? Both Paul and James would agree that we are saved by faith alone, but that faith is never alone. It's always accompanied by good works. So, dead faith. Secondly, demonic faith. Now, faith without actions is not only dead, it's actually demonic. Now, James deals with an objection that someone throws at him. Verse 18, someone says to him, "Hey, what about this? You have faith, I have deeds." He's saying, well, James, one person is maybe a faith sort of person, and another person is more deed sort of person. One person is more in theological studies, another in more good works. Isn't that fine? Isn't that okay? And James says, no, it is not fine. Because you always show your faith by your deeds. You cannot separate what God has joined together. That is deed and faith. They are a couple. There were people in James' day, they were saying, look, it's enough to believe in God intellectually. It's okay not to have good deeds. Some people are gifted in that, but not all. And James says, well, that's rubbish. He says, show me your faith without deeds, which is an impossibility. And I will show you my faith by my deeds. And he goes on, he says, you believe that there is one God? Good. Well done. Theology test 101, passed. You got 100 marks on your test. But Mr. Orthodox Christian, did you realize who else believes that God is one? The devil. He believes that God is one, and even the demons believe that, and they shudder. Theological orthodoxy, having all the right answers, knowing all the right answers in Sunday school, memorizing the scripture or liturgy, knowing it all is not a sign, not necessarily a sign of genuine faith. Because, the devil excels in all that. He knows all the right answers. He is a fantastic theologian. It will beat you in theology, in game of intellectual faith, any day. But what does he do? What good does that do to him? Nothing. He shudders. There is no more theological orthodox college in the world than hell. They've got their doctrine absolutely right. They know their Bibles back to front. And if you think believing things in your head is the same thing as having a saving faith, well, you are in a very strange company. Here's a person who has not got any questions wrong in the Bible study the whole year. They've done their homework. They know their stuff. They can even correct the leader. And you can marvel at their knowledge. Oh, he's an expert. Look at him. What knowledge. What insight. But James says, well, no need to marvel if he does not back it up with his good deeds, because that's actually demonic. No matter how much theology you know, maybe you have a PhD in theology, if your life doesn't show love in action, as far as James is concerned, it's useless. It's not backed up by good deeds. So, dead faith, demonic faith, and finally, very quickly, dynamic faith. We've seen that dead faith, what dead faith looks like, what demonic faith looks like, and faith without deeds is at the heart of them. Now, James wants us to give us something positive examples. So he takes us a long time back, in flashback, to two great examples of lively faith, a woman and a man. Abraham, he says, verse 21, was not our father Abraham considered righteous for what he did when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? And then there is another example, Rahab, in the same way. Was not even Rahab the prostitute considered righteous for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction? Well, I encourage you to read these stories in their context. They're found in Genesis and Joshua. But what these both stories have in common is that both Abraham and Rahab's faith was shown to be alive because their deeds proved it was alive. Think about Abraham for a moment. He was very strong in his faith. When time came to test his faith, when God tested his faith and asked his son to be sacrificed, Abraham didn't say a word. He obeyed. He was willing to sacrifice everything precious to him for God. That's a living faith. In the end, God didn't allow him to hurt his son because God never asks us to sacrifice our children. That's paganism, not our faith. But Abraham proved the genuineness of his faith by his deed. He was not mucking about. In the same way, Rahab the prostitute, do you know that story? She didn't just have faith in God in an intellectual sense. No, she gave lodging to the spies, which was very risky. It was a treason. Could have got her killed and her family killed. But she proved the genuineness of her faith by her actions. The point that James is making from these stories is the same, that faith without deeds is dead. Faith that has deeds is alive. And that's exactly where he lands in verse 26, where he says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. Now, what about us? Reading this text thousands of years later. What about us? What does James say to us, you and I? Well, I want to encourage us to do two things in the light of this passage. Firstly, let's look inward. Let's examine our hearts. We must ask ourselves some very personal questions. Ask yourself, is your faith genuine? If someone was to watch the tape recording of your life from last month on a big screen, would they see enough things to conclude that you are a genuine Christian? Will there be enough proof that you have a living faith? Will they find words and words only? Or will they find faith in action, serving the poor, caring for the downtrodden, giving a helping hand to the weak? Or put it another way, suppose that they were to start sending practicing Christians to prison. Would there be enough proof to convict you as a Christian with a lively faith? There are so many people in the world who claim to be Christians, but they have no deed to prove it. James says, if they have no deeds, they are kidding themselves, because such faith won't save them. Quite the opposite, actually. They will be thinking in their mind that they are saved and end up at the doorsteps of hell. Such faith won't save them. So let's look inward and examine our hearts and really be true to ourselves, not kidding ourselves. What is our faith like? How are we going with our walk with Christ, both in word and action? Secondly, look outward. Those who claim to be believers but offer not a slightest aid to fellow Christians, even those who are in dire need, even though they are in position to help, demonstrate the emptiness of their claim. They claim to know Jesus, but really they have no idea about the heart of Christ that beats for the poor and suffering. So if someone is in need, you and I need to prove the genuineness of our faith by providing for them. by washing people's feet, as it were. If someone looks hungry, go feed them. If someone is homeless, provide them a shelter. We can be so tempted. We can just wipe our hands and say, well, I'm giving some money to Anglicare. I'm giving some money to Red Cross. I'm giving some money to Dixon House. So, well, that's their job. I personally am not responsible or required to do anything. Well, no, you are a Christian. And your faith puts you in obligation to personally care for the fatherless, for the widows, for the hungry, for the poor. So friends, we need to look outward. We need to look for opportunities. Did you know that in the early church, during Lent, this is the season of the church that we are going through now, during Lent, people would give up things, meat or chocolate or whatever that we do nowadays. They would also give up things. But then they would use those funds that they would have otherwise spent to give to the poor. So for example, let's say I stopped eating meat for Lent and saved $500 because of it. Instead of putting that in their savings, they would give that money away. Maybe that's one thing that you could do during this Lent. Not just give up, but provide for the needy. Feed the poor. Help the afflicted. Honor the Lord. So friends, let us continue to keep on looking out for opportunities to serve the poor, the less fortunate among us. Because, faith without deeds is dead. Let's make sure our faith is not dead, but living.